Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael, and today I have to talk about some movie news having to do with the Friday the 13th Crystal Lake A24 show that has had some weird discussion around it the last couple of days and some weird announcements, kind of officially, kind of not officially, according to Bloody Disgusting's correction as of yesterday. There's some weird stuff going on in the water, if you will. Anyway, so this show was a prequel show, right? It was apparently, I guess, going to be about Pamela Voorhees. I don't think Jason was going to be a part of it. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about all that. It's kind of up in the air because sometimes I like A24, sometimes I don't. Many of you have heard me complain about that enough here on the channel when I have talked about it. But anyway, backing away from that, let's talk about what's been happening the last couple of days. The night before last, I got off work, I happened to be looking at Reddit and at YouTube, and I saw a lot of people posting about how apparently A24 were going to back out. There was a lot of rumor about that they were, doing something with the show. They were going to stop the show's entire production, halt it entirely, and that could mean anything from some actor overdosed and had to go to rehab for a couple of weeks, all the way to, hey, we're going to retool things, or maybe it didn't happen at all. Well, it turned out yesterday I started seeing correction videos and live streams and stuff from different people, including Sinister Cinema Reviews, a guy that I watch a lot, I recommend him, by the way, and it seemed like it turned out Bloody Disgusting, which is a big, horror, website, in case you guys don't follow a lot of that. They've been around for a while. I'd be surprised if you're a horror fan and haven't heard of Bloody Disgusting. But anyway, I'm assuming they contacted A24 and they came out correcting it, saying, no, it's not halted at all. There's no real issue there. However, they did admit there is a retooling happening. Now, me personally, I don't think there should be a slasher TV show aside from Scream. Scream has a whodunit nature to it, and maybe you could do it with some other shows, but typically horror shows work better in the form of something like anthological stories, like Twilight Zone, Tales from the Dark Side, sometimes X-Files if you want to do more of a Monster of the Week type of thing. And Channel Zero, I think, is the best example of one that I loved better. It was American Horror Story, completely improved in every possible way. So I like horror TV when it's good. I don't really get that very often. I don't really watch a lot of the newer stuff just because I don't like it. It's usually pretty rough. I've heard things about shows like Them. I heard that's possibly okay. I don't really know. But I always end up disappointed with TV shows anyway. That's why I really don't watch any of them. Even something like Breaking Bad, I think, had a pretty rough final season until the final episode, basically. But that's just me. Getting off to the slasher TV show thing, again, I think Scream and the whole whodunit mystery thing really helped that first 2 seasons of that show, and then they crapped the bed when they sold the rights to Queen Latifah. Yes, that happened, in case you don't know. Now, I think Scream works in that way. From what I've seen of Chucky, which is basically just season 1, I've heard things about season 2 and 3 from really die-hard friends of mine that are die-hard Chucky fans, is what I meant. And they like season 2 and 3, but season 2 and 3 don't really sound like they're for me. We have a Halloween Michael Myers TV show in the works. Not really thrilled about that either. This Crystal Lake thing just seems like not what Friday fans want. I know there are people out there that I've heard say that they're excited about this because they love A24, and that's fine if you do, but it's not for me. I don't need Jason sitting under a tarp, which is basically his home out in the woods, crying, but it's raining heavily outside, so we just can't see the tear rolling down his hockey mask. I don't need all of that shit while he reflects on his grief about all the people he's murdered and why he just can't stop like some kind of crazy binge eater. It's ridiculous. I just don't want that. I don't need that from Friday. I don't need Pamela Voorhees thinking about her hatred of motherhood and how she wished she had killed Jason, which would corrupt the entire motivation of why she does what she does in the first movie back in the day. I don't need all of this meditation bullshit. Just give me a slasher. Just give me a guy with a goofy hockey mask that may or may not be deformed, even. You can have handsome Jason if you want to do that. I don't give a shit. But have him going around killing people, mainly teenagers and camp counselors, that's all I want. Have him kill kids if you want to do that. I don't care. I just let him have some fun. Let me have some fun while watching him have some fun vicariously. I don't care what you're going to do with it. I just want something fun there. I don't think Friday the 13th, of all things, should be taken immensely seriously. I just don't. And I think that it usually harms these big, goofy franchises when we go that way. However, I will say, in the defense of, like, Halloween, for example, I do think that the first, and even the second, which is more over the top, David Gordon Green Halloween films can be really badass. 2018 was a shock to the system. I think all the fans, despite what they say now after Halloween Ends, and I feel the same way you do about Halloween Ends probably, I think all of us can admit 2018 was a shock to the system that the franchise and the fans needed. The anticipation, the hype, all of that stuff just made that movie so much more exciting to see. I just don't think a TV show is the way to do that. I don't think having subpar writers in Hollywood or on TV try to draw out a story for 8 or even 6 or sometimes 10 or 20 episodes. Half the time it doesn't work out, and I usually don't like how it's not as rewatchable as something like a movie. And I do mean that. I know people don't want to hear that, but I kind of feel like the way to do this right, and I think A24 should submit to this idea, frankly, keep Friday, and Halloween, by the way, as a movie series, and do, if you want to do a big stretching series to try to hit as much as you possibly can based on the licensing you purchased, have 3 movies a year. Now, I know Marvel's doing that, and maybe some of the fans would say it's too much. I don't think so. When you're seeing the recurrence of things like Scream, Scream 5 and 6 were a massive improvement. To me, they are the best of the sequels, easily. I hate 2. I kind of don't like 3 as much as most people. Well, 3 is usually the most hated one, but I don't see that. 4 is a little rough, quite a bit. I have a lot of opinions about all of this stuff. But I think Friday and Halloween would do better to have a couple of movies a year, maybe have 2 teams of writers for the first 2 years that A24 has these rights. Instead of doing a massive TV show, have the same subpar writers that you already planned to write 2 movies. One group gets a release in 1 year, and then the next year they have their next production. Do that, do it on a smaller scale budget, make it more of a character drama, but have the slasher element there. You can have character drama and have Jason wandering around in the background. You can do that in a more stylistic, modern way than the original 80s films did. You can do that. And I think most fans would be okay with that. But do not make this teen drama CW bullshit. Don't make it political. Don't do any of that garbage with Friday the 13th. Just make it a fun time with a lot of gore, a lot of creative gore. Take the elements of the remake from 2009 and make it a little bit more stylistic. I think people would be okay with that. You want to know how you'd win over hardcore fans, and I really mean this. Hardcore fans, either bring back Kane Hodder, which I think he could probably still do it, or bring back Derek Mears and have him really get the movie that he deserves. Because Derek Mears was a hell of a Jason. I think most people would say that behind Kane Hodder, he's probably their favorite. He is my personal favorite Jason Voorhees. Just saying, I know the movie's not great, but I do enjoy the film, and I do love Derek Mears as Jason. I think that he is intimidating, man. I think if you gave him a shot, you could save his career and reputation as a, actor and what he can do physically. And I think his Jason performance would be a lot more appreciated from the history 15 years ago. I think there's a lot of ideas we could discuss, but I really think that Kane Hodder or Derek Mears are their ticket in to having a really massively overwhelming love for this thing happening. However, the show is a prequel TV series, and no one wants to see fucking Pamela Voorhees killing people. It's like when you had this Friday the 13th TV show, which, to be fair, I've never seen, but calling it that and have it have nothing to do with Jason or anything, you kind of piss the fans off when you do things like that. So I don't think having a show called Crystal Lake is a good idea. Call it something else. It can be Crystal Lake. I understand why you're not calling it Friday the 13th Crystal Lake, but shitting upon the fans who are mainly here for Jason is not the way to do this. I just don't think it is. We can talk about experimentation and trying out new things every single time that we get a new Friday project or a Halloween or Freddy project. I understand we can talk about that in circles all day long amongst the fandom, amongst normies, amongst whatever news cycle you're watching on YouTube or TV or whatever. We can talk about that all day. But I do think at the end of the day, what do the fans actually want who support this franchise, who buy merchandise, who buy tickets, who do all of that? I don't think most people are going to be okay with going to streaming. I just don't. I think you are going to kill franchises by doing that. I just don't think it's a good idea. Even Terrifier 2 did not make that mistake, So anyway, that's just my thoughts. I think A24 is making a massive mistake by this. I just don't think the audience is there for a TV show for Friday, because a lot of people that are into TV are watching a lot of shit. And maybe they'll like this, maybe they won't, I don't know. But most, I would say, fans of Friday are not watching most TV shows coming out now. I just don't think it's happening because I don't know many people in general who are actually watching TV that's not old shit they grew up with or whatever. I don't see people watching much of anything now. Even people like my mom who loves television, she's not really watching anything new. Not really. And the people who are in the horror community watching TV are watching the great stuff we got in recent years, like Channel Zero, like I said, or Chucky, you know? So anyway, that's just my general thoughts on a lot of this frustration that I have towards the A24 TV show idea. I think they're making a massive misstep here, and I think they're going to lose money if they keep going this route. I think if you're going to do a TV show about Friday the 13th, at least have Jason there, not Pamela. But anyway, that's just my complaint, my frustration, my irritation with all of this nonsense. I would love to hear what you all have to say down in the comment section down below after this scare we all had about the show being canceled, and then not really, but being retooled, whatever that means. I guess whatever idea they had seems to be falling apart. So anyway, I'd love to hear everything you have to say down below. Thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.